What is up, folks? Briston Gaming. We are back with another exciting episode of 7 Days to Die Mods Weekly. The show will help you figure out what mods are good for you. And this week, as you guys can see here, we have a cool week ahead of us. We're going to cover some really nice mods. But before we jump anything, I want to say thank you, mod authors, for all the cool stuff that you guys have been working on. Stuff coming out with, updates, and it's just everything that's been happening with mods is just really cool. Like, I keep saying it every week, but it's true because this late into an alpha, seeing stuff is just really nice. And then also thank you, community members, for the support. It really means a lot. Thank you. But now we're going to go ahead and jump into the mods. And our first mod is Harry's Zap Ammo mod by Bobby Lee 298. And it's a small little thing that does stuff similar to like Darkness Falls and some other mods where it adds a stun ammo mod that you can put in a gun. And it gives you a small chance of electrocuting a zombie. It's a small thing, but it's just kind of nice. Now we do have some friends here. We're going to go ahead and unfreeze the AI. And we'll let you see. You see how it's not every shot. Like, it actually was about 4 shots or 5 shots before it popped off. So you're not going to have it happen every single time. But when it does happen, like happen... Ooh, here, there we go. It actually happened twice on the soldier. When it does happen, can be a little bit of a game changer for you, especially if you've got, you know, a weapon like an SMG or an AK or anything with like a high magazine and a bunch of zombies chasing you. It can be really good for that, you know, to give you some breathing room to try to move, get away, anything like that. Like stuff like that that's vanilla flavored, like this one is, where there's other ones in like Darkness Falls. There's a couple other modlets in vanilla or that you can have to still somewhat vanilla gameplay style that do the same thing. But mods like this are just really cool because vanilla can be very fun to just play around with, like especially with friends and stuff like that, without having like the big massive overhaul stuff that like Undead Legacy or Darkness Falls or War of the Walkers, anything like that. You can still have a ton of fun with this. But with that, we're gonna go ahead and move over to the next mod. Alright folks, so this next mod is the OCB leveling tool by OCB Maurice, and we have in our hands here our handy dandy little leveling hoe. And this is just a super cool small little mod that makes it to where you can get rid of this super ugly little trenches that form whenever you put a block in the ground. Or instead of having to do this trick here where you put down a frame and then pick it back up to try to level out the ground to make everything a little bit smoother. Instead, we have this tool here where we're just going to sit here and we're going to right click and it's going to bring the dirt in. Oop, we smacked our block. But it's going to bring the dirt in and fill in on the edges of our shapes. See how it's actually bringing up to the edge of the shape, and actually filling in, if I can get the angles and stuff right, how it's actually filling everything in and making it look a lot better, like the blocks actually would look like on a POI like this over here. Like how the dirt actually comes up even with it. And if I go into God mode and go underground and we look, you see there are blocks underground, but everything just sits, you know, so much better than how it would normally be for a player. But let's say that, you know, we want to do a little bit more. If you crouch and you start doing this, all the ground in a 3-block radius is going to be done a little bit better than if you were to do it just like a single block at a time. And you see how it's actually pouring over to the top of the blocks like that. I actually really like that. I think it's really cool how it does this. And if we were to actually take this all the way out to the concrete and stuff, depending upon how big we make it, it would easily get rid of this whole little hill. I don't really would call it a hill, but like elevated area. It would actually flatten it all out a lot more. Like I'll show you real quick if we just a little bit more than I intended, but if we do like that, when we come back, we can actually get it to eventually completely level out and have a perfectly smooth level area to do all of our building, and we won't have any of these little lips. And the reason these lips are like a big deal, or these little trenches are a big deal to me and some other people, is I've had base builds before where on like horde nights and stuff like that, the zombies have managed to somehow like clip into this. and they get stuck in this weird little trench, and they start beating on a base block that they were never supposed to be beating on in the first place. So it can actually mess up a build. But having something like this to where you can, fill in those gaps and get a more seamless transition. And not only that, but like if you're like me and you like building your own little garage type stuff, this little lip, as you see as we go across it, we're bouncing a little bit, can actually mess with some of the vehicles and make it difficult to get a vehicle in and out depending upon how you build. So being able to just fill that in and give yourself a more seamless transition can help with some of the vehicles and stuff, like especially the mini bike, the motorcycle, and I think it's the bicycle too. The 4x4 doesn't really have as much because it's got a higher profile, but the smaller profile vehicles can have a difficult time with that little trench there. But with that, folks, we're going to go ahead and move over to the next mod. Alright, folks, so this next mod is a super cool Infected Tier 5 WHO lab by Infected Gaming. And as you can see here, this is a pretty good size POI. There is some good stuff here. I'm not going to show everything on the POI, but I will show you a little bit. I have played around with it some, and I've actually enjoyed most of the stuff that I've found and had played around with, I should say, in this POI. It is a quest POI. There does, the quest little marker will spawn right here. And then you open this, you come through. I'm actually going to go out of God mode. I mean, we got a God gun, so if anything jumps out and gets us, we can smack it. Go ahead and turn on our helmet light too. And then come through, and you actually see some pretty cool stuff, like some pretty good lights and stuff here. And we do have the AI turned off, so, but pretty good lighting and everything set up here. This is actually really cool looking. Follows through. There's plenty of stuff here to loot, fight, kill your way through, or try to avoid. There's, little garage here. You can see all kinds of cool stuff, but we're really not supposed to go that way. I just wanted to show you some. We got some cappers through there. More little infected beds and stuff. All kinds of fun little stuff here. So you guys are going to have a ton of fun with this. I'm only showing you, again, only going to show you a little bit of it. I'm not going to show everything. But it follows through. We're actually supposed to go that way, but we're not. We're just going to go God mode again and go through the walls. But as you can see, there's a lot here. It's pretty good size. Like if we go around it, come back in, you can see the ways that we were supposed to have walked and stuff. Come here, you see a little door there that leads through. Some more inside stuff, plenty of cool lights. And showing off a POI like this is kind of hard because I want to make sure that you guys see, here's the main loot. I want to make sure that you guys see enough to be interested in it, but I don't want to show off everything about it, like how to clear the POI, because that takes kind of the fun, I think, out of the POI. I want you guys to experience clearing it and stuff for yourselves. I want you to experience coming through it and dealing with everything. Like I already showed you some of the creepy rooms. And we have a nice little helipad, so you can land up here with a gyrocopter and stuff. But it's just, this is a really fantastically well-built POI. The only problem I have with this POI is getting it installed on a map is kind of a pain in the ass, because I actually had to go in and manually add the lines to get it to spawn. And then it doesn't, like, I'm not super big with building POIs, so I don't know the proper code to get it to, like, face the correct way. So then I had to come into the world and then tweak it a little bit myself, which just, it took a lot of work. If the mod author or the POI developer put in the lines to show where it's supposed to spawn and stuff like that, this would be like a top 10 POI for me, just because of how big it is, how much stuff there is to loot, and how much fun I had actually going through and clearing it. There's a couple of other ones I'll show you that I spawned in manually and stuff further out that way, that I actually went through and tested when I was playing with how to do them. I typically will put like 5 or 6 on a map and then come through, do 2 or 3, during the exploration and stuff, and then a couple for show off, but this is just, man, this is such a fun POI. I've really enjoyed coming through it. And when I was doing my test, I had an auto shotgun and AK, and I think, no, it was an M60, and I can't remember what else I had. And I ran out of ammo, and I had like 500 rounds for each one. Like, there's a lot of stuff in here to fight and kill, and I had a blast, especially once stuff starts waking up and it's like, oh, panic moment. And especially if this were to spawn in like the wasteland or something like that, or where you're gonna have increased spawn and higher danger zone. Woo, doggy, you could have a lot of fun with this POI. But with that, folks, we're gonna go ahead and move over to the last mod. Alright, folks, so this last mod is for those who truly want a challenge or want a early test of not the exact path that the Fun Pimps are taking, but a similar path that the Fun Pimps are going to take for Alpha 21. And this is KH Music's No Crafting. And I say KH Music's just because I don't want to say Kilohertz Music because it's longer. But this mod removes crafting from the game. The only things we're allowed to craft are bedrolls and land claim blocks. Now, I will show that I do have some other mods installed, so it's going to show that we can craft some other stuff, like the bulletproof glass blocks. Like I said, I do have other mods installed, so it shows, if we have those things, we could craft that. But we look through, like, the leveling hoe that shows a null error exception because it's really not something we can craft in the game. So you see, there's no crafting anything in the game. This mod overrides all crafting, and you saw what happened when I clicked on something to craft. It threw up a ton of error messages, and I showed that specifically to show that if you guys want to do any kind of crafting at all, this mod is not going to let you. It takes care of all crafting. It is a challenge to play with. I am not going to lie. I have played with this mod a little while, and holy hell is it difficult. You can't even craft workbenches. You can't craft the fire. The only time you're going to get these things is if you get these as a quest reward, or you get lucky enough to find a working version out in the wild, like the fires. That's it. You're not going to have workbenches and anything else that you can build on your own. And to show, if we come over here to skills and we look at our skills, we don't have any of the food skills, like the living off the land or the master chef and the grease monkey. They've all been removed because we can't do any crafting. So yeah, it's an interesting mod to play with. It's kind of fun. Honestly, it's challenging as hell, yo. Like, this mod was based off of the Lucky Looter series that Glock 9 is doing, and living only by what you get either from the traders, from buying from them, or quest rewards, or looting, it's a bitch. Like, it really is. It's hard. But I've actually had a lot of fun with it because now you really think strategically, because what are you going to do for what? How are you going to get all your cobblestone and cement and stuff like that? And base builds actually become kind of a big concern for Horde if you play with it on. Like, I built the same base when I was playing with this mod. I had the exact same base I have in my Darkness Falls series, and it's only because of how efficient that base is the only way I was able to make it as long as I did playing, because otherwise a normal base is going to get chewed up and destroyed, and without constantly being able to craft cobblestone and having to buy it from the traders or loot it out in the wild, it's a pain in the butt. It really is. And you can't make steel. You have to either wrench it or buy it. Like, this mod does turn up the difficulty a pretty good notch. It's not as difficult as doing like one hit kill or anything like that, but it makes it difficult and makes it fun. At least to me, it made it fun. But with that, folks, we're going to go ahead and we are done for the week. Thanks for sticking around. I hope you had fun. If you liked the episode, go ahead, like, subscribe, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think, but have fun, take it easy, and we will see you next time.